If you travel around the big stations like York, London, Edinburgh or Manchester, it's very common to see the Class 800 and Class 802s. These trains replaced the very popular Intercity 125s and is seen as the future for intercity travel. These are now seen as the go-to engines for long passenger journeys. But in the mid to late part of the 20th century, there was another engine who had this go-to and do-all attitude. In the early 30s, the Big Four used varying different types of steam locomotives to do both goods and express work. Some steam locomotives were more specialised in their field than others. For example, the A4 class was more suited towards express passenger duties than it was hauling goods. This caused problems for the Big Four as they would often have to buy locomotives for specific needs. William Stanier realised the need for an engine that would be equally good at doing both goods work and express work, and basically doing anything that the railway could throw at it. He also realised that the engine needed to be big, as there was a distinct gap in the market for larger goods engines. Stanier researched into other engines and drew inspiration from the GWR Hall class of locomotives. He liked the cylinder arrangement, the internal boiler design, but he didn't want to copy the Hall specific design as the engine was considered too wide to run in some parts of the UK. From his design and research, he created the Class 5, a 460 tender engine. Unlike the engine's predecessors, Stanier wanted to paint the engines in a black livery. Many people gave the engine the nickname the Black Staniers. However, as more engines were produced, they would change the nickname to the Black 5, and they are still known as Black 5's to this day. The first 20 engines, including number 5000, were ordered from Crewe Works in April 1934. However, these were not the first ones to roll off the production line, as the Vulcan foundry had also been given 50 locomotives to create. The Vulcan foundry were very efficient and managed to finish all 50 engines before Crewe had even finished its first. On Stanier's orders, out of the first 70 built, 57 of them were domeless. They were converted later in life, but subsequent orders mixed between domed and domeless engines. Because of this, it was very difficult when looking at the engine to tell whether it was domeless or not. Other types of Black 5's also carried several modifications to the boiler. These modifications depended on whether the engine was domeless or not. Both the public and the Big Four loved the Black 5 so much that at one point there was 5 different companies making them. When the railway was nationalised, British Rail redeveloped the original Stanier design and gave the engines larger driving wheels, a new self-cleaning smoke box and a higher running plate. These were known as the Standard 5's, and like its predecessor's basis, they were very versatile. However, they simply were not as popular as the Black 5's, and at the end of its production run there were 842 different types of Black 5's running around the network, compared to the Standard 5's 172. All 842 engines had a long working life on the railway, with 5 even receiving names. They were the most successful mixed traffic engine in Britain and were seen as the go-to and do-all engine, and were equally happily pulling coaches as well as freight. The first engine from this class was withdrawn in 1961 following an accident, and this sparked the end of the Black 5, with droves going to the scrapyard between 1962 and 1968. But the public couldn't let go of the Black 5, and even on the very last day of steam, 46 were still running on the network. As a thank you for all the hard work, 3 Stanier Black 5's were chosen to triple head the last steam-hauled passenger train on the 11th of August 1968. As steam gave way to diesel, Many engines would not survive the cutter's torch. Amazingly, 18 Black 5's were preserved, and by sheer chance, one Black 5 was preserved from each of the 5 companies that produced them. Amazingly, out of the 18 that were saved, only 3 of them are currently either stored or on static display. The rest are either in mainline certified or undergoing overhauls and restorations to put them back out onto the line. The National Railway Museum has one Black 5 in preservation today and is housed at the sister museum called Locomotion. Number 5000, the first in number, is the only Black 5 on static display. It was built with the superheated domeless boiler and worked on the mainline from 1935 to 1967 with minimal fuss and modifications. After its withdrawal, it was selected to represent the 842 engines and was preserved for the nation. It was repainted black to its LMS livery from British Rail and steamed on the Severn Valley Railway until her boiler ticket expired in 1990. The National Railway Museum have no plans to overhaul or re-steam her, and she is stabled at the National Railway Museum until 2006 when she was moved to a new home in Locomotion in Durham. I'm glad that these engines are going to be around for generations to come. They certainly earned their mark in history, and it's fitting to say that even in preservation, these engines are still proving that they are the ultimate workhorses on their heritage lines.